Welcome to the Principles of Success. My name is Nathan, and this is Season 1, Episode 32, I think. And today we are talking about guys attracting girls. And I'm nowhere near nervous about this episode because, guys, you can suck it up and deal with reality. You're good at that. So, today, just like last time, girls, if you want to listen to it, go ahead, feel free. You'll get plenty of value out of it. But today's focus is on guys. And in the girls episodes, the biggest takeaway for that was you need to be healthy and focus on building your physique as much as possible. Guys, looks don't matter. And you know why I say this? Because a girl will be proud to present her ugly boyfriend. You will never see a super top level guy with an ugly girl. It doesn't happen, hardly ever. Maybe once in a blue moon. But you will see plenty of super attractive girls with butt ugly guys. And every time that happens, you all say the same thing. He's got game. And that's because this is reality. It doesn't matter what you look like as a guy in attraction for girls. It does help if you're 6 foot, 300 pounds of pure muscle. It helps, but it is not the most important factor. Therefore, it doesn't matter. What does matter is how charismatic and confident you are, because that's what girls care about. I said it in the previous episode. You can't sell to a buyer what they don't want. Just because you want to sell it does not mean that the buyer wants it. Just because you think looks are important does not mean that the girl thinks looks are important. You have to be able to touch her emotions and make her feel things. That's what a woman cares about. And I'm just going to use shorthand and talk about alpha guys, but I'm not talking about bro guys, though those can be alpha. It is simply somebody who is confident in themselves and who a woman would feel like he could provide, keep her safe, and make her feel great. That's what, on a biological level, women are examining all the time. Is that, will he fit in socially? Will he keep me safe? Will he be able to make sure my kids are fed? Those are the subconscious things that a girl cares about. And how she perceives those is she'll look at how charismatic you are, how confident you are, how socially adept you are. And that's the main crux of developing yourself to be higher when it comes to dating girls. The key word is social skills. That is all you need to focus on. Developing those social skills. Now, we're talking about purely for attraction and dating purposes, and that's all you really need to focus on. But I strongly encourage getting healthy, getting fit. It doesn't hurt. It gives you lots of energy, which then gives you more ability to be more charismatic. It helps you get finance in order. Good finances help you get more girls. Money also is not matter. Money doesn't matter. Looks don't matter. What else does? A lot of height doesn't matter. There's plenty of super short guys with lots of attractive girls. Weight doesn't matter. There's plenty of big guys. There's plenty of skinny guys with super attractive girls. The only thing that really matters is how she feels around you. So you need to develop those social skills so that way you can control what you are presenting. Because most guys, compared to girls, are freaking autistic. They have no idea what all the super subtle social things that are going around them at all times. And that's coming from an actual autistic guy. So, just imagine how alien I must seem to girls. I don't know if I've mentioned this before, but I essentially was the fat, ugly chick 10 years ago. Actually, it's 9 years ago, but it's getting close to 10. 9 years ago, I was so autistic that I didn't have a single friend. I was completely ostracized, that means outcast, from my peers, essentially. Because I was autistic, I was strange, I was really weird. There was zero chance that I would get anybody to like me. But then I started studying social skills and developing myself and constantly working at it. Because it's going to take a long time. Just like any other skill, it's learnable. And it takes practice to learn the skill. And when you're starting off, as terrible as I was, because I was autistic, then you're going to have a long journey ahead of you. Most of you probably will not take you 10 years to get to the level I am at. It might take you 1, maybe 2. At the most, if you're consistent at it. But it could take you longer. I probably took the longest with my 10 years, but I had a disadvantage. You probably don't have extreme disadvantage. But let me rephrase that. Every single one of you have a lot of the same disadvantages. You're probably anxious. You might be a little shy. You don't know how to go talk to random strangers. That is the single most important skill that you need to social skill that you need to develop. Learning how to approach people. Go up to them, say hi, introduce yourself, get to know them, talk to them, ask them on a date. If you don't know that part of it, how are you going to practice the social skills part of being on the actual date? It doesn't work if you don't learn how to approach people. And I will freely admit, that is what took me the longest time period to learn. I was so freaking shy that there was people who'd known me for years and had no idea what my name was. Because I'd never talked to them. I just sat next to them and they didn't converse with me. I was basically non-existent and I just was present. So you gotta make sure that you learn how to go talk to strangers. I remember very clearly going up to a college campus, not in my city. So there's zero chance that I will ever see any of these people ever again. I could do the weirdest things possible and I wouldn't have to worry about it because I would never see them again. I wandered around for, I think it was 5-6 hours, and I said hi to one person, and that was because that one person was a really old man who had already said hi to me. So, that's how bad I was. You're probably going to be better. You might be worse. Who knows? But either way, you need to continually go at it. I am not quite at the point that I want to be able to just completely go up to a random stranger and be like, hi, you're cute. What's your name? Da-da-da-da-da. However, I am close enough that if it's somebody attending the same event, whether it's church, whether we're in a class, whether it's something like that, I am now confident enough and charismatic enough to be able to go and talk to that person and introduce myself. And once you get that step done, you need to learn how to actually talk to people. There's great books on how to talk to people. The biggest 2 tips I've gotten are actually, on the surface, contradictory. One tip is have the emphasis be on them, have the spotlight be on them. Talk to them about their interests and what they're doing and what they like. The flip side of that is when you're first beginning to talk to them, you're basically leeching their energy at those first moments until they have decided that they are interested enough in you to want to invest into the conversation. You should not expect them to really do anything. It all should be on your shoulders. You should hold the conversation. Tell stories. Do not ask questions necessarily. You can ask questions if it's coming from a place of confidence, but asking questions just to try and converse is you stealing their energy when they don't give a crap about you and they don't know you. So why would they want to answer the question? Especially if you're a complete stranger and you're asking them things like, where do you live? What do you do? That is boring and also could be dangerous if they told you the actual information. Now, most people will still tell you and be polite, but you're not going to build attraction, which this is what this episode is about, by doing that. Most people, I want to say it's 3 steps, and it's build comfort, build rapport, then build attraction. That is not how it works, and especially because most of the time that is how you get into the friend zone. What you need to do is you need to go up, convey value, convey attraction, get them bought in, and then build comfort and rapport. Most people do it backwards, and I will freely admit I'm still guilty of this 90% of the time. You will not be perfect. You will not want to say hi to the super cute girl because she will be intimidating. Another key takeaway is your charisma levels are malleable. Depending on your energy that day, you might be more charismatic than others. Depending on your mood, you might be more charismatic than others. And it is affected by the law of momentum, the principle of momentum. Once you start socializing, you'll be more social. But when you first show up to a place and you sit down and dink around on your phone, you're not going to feel social, and you're probably going to stay in that momentum the whole night. But if you show up, introduce yourself to the very first person you talk to, whether it's guy, girl, attractive girl, adult, kid would be a little weird, but that's what I was about to say. But introduce yourself, talk to them, converse with them, and then move on to the next person. You're warming up, and then you can go approach the attractive person. Alternatively, you can just go straight and talk to the attractive person if you feel like it. But most of you won't. And in fact, I don't know if I covered this principle. There's the principle of, I don't know what to call this, second guessing. Basically, if you do not, the moment the thought comes into your mind, if you do not immediately take action, odds are that your mind will talk you out of it. And when it comes to talking to a random super attractive girl, you have about a half a second window to go talk to her. Once you decide that you want to talk to her, you have about a half a second window to get yourself to go talk to her. Now, you can do warm-ups. You can be like, yeah, I want to go talk to her. Talk to that person. And then you see her again and be like, yeah, I want to talk to her. Do not go back to doing warm-ups. Go and talk to her, because you will talk yourself out of it if you don't. And then one last, develop approach. Develop those social skills. Practice is king. But also, here's some useful insights. Charisma. One author talks about how it can be boiled down to 3 things. Presence, how present you feel, power, and warmth. And all 3 are necessary. You need all 3, but you can get away with more of some than others. So for instance, you can be, if you're powerful, or if you're warm and present, but not powerful whatsoever, you can be charismatic, but you also can come off as being overly eager. Whereas if you're present and powerful, but not being warm, you can come off as the grumpy boss. Steve Jobs was powerful and present, but he wasn't the warmest person. Elon Musk is warm and present, but he doesn't convey the most powerful persona. And remember, you can get away with having less of some when you have more of others. So if you're super present, your presence will draw people into you. Though that's another important thing. The emotions you feel are projected onto people. So if you're feeling anxious and nervous or bored, the girl is going to feel anxious or nervous or bored. So project what you want her to feel, and she might reciprocate it, because girls are much more empathetic than guys are in general. This is all generalities. And then I'll just leave you with a couple of good resources to study, because these guys are experts and I only been doing it for 10 years and I'm still not the greatest. So here's the resources. There's a great book called The Charisma Myth. That's a good one. Several books on how to talk to people. How to have a conversation with anybody effortlessly. I want to say some numbers, like 51 tips for talking with people. It's an entire company and they have a lot of stuff on YouTube. Their YouTube channels no longer go by these names, but if you search them, it'll still pop up. Look up RSD Tyler, RSD Max, RSD Todd. And I think Todd is Todd Valentine is what his goes by. Tyler's might be Owen Cook. That's what I think his is by. Those guys are all great. They will talk about social skills out the wazoo. This next one you've probably heard, Charisma Mastery. So go and learn from those guys. Those guys can go much more in depth than this short little podcast episode can go. And we might go more in depth down the road, but for this episode in this season, this is all we're really covering. So again, master social skills. Learn how to go and talk to people, introduce people, because it's also a numbers game. So the more people you meet and the more attractive girls that you talk to, the better chances you have of finding somebody who will be a good fit for you. So remember that. Go out, talk to people as often as you can. RSD Tyler, he recommends going out nightly, especially when you're first starting. So go out, talk to people, converse. Introverts. Let's talk about introverts for a little bit. Take little introvert naps. You still have to develop the social skills, whether you enjoy socializing or not. I hate socializing. I would much rather stay in my house all the time. But I also want to eventually get married. So you have to develop the skills still. But what you can do is make sure your energy levels are as high as you can get them prepped. So eat healthy, sleep well the night before, go out, socialize for a little bit, go back into your cocoon for a little bit, away from people, come back, project that energy onto people, go back, rest, come back, you can go back and forth. They will miss you when you're gone, and when they miss you while you're gone recovering, they won't think poorly of you because you're slowly draining downwards. And if you get to the point that you're super exhausted, just leave. You don't have to do a 3-hour party, all 3 hours. Show up for a little bit, converse with people, just do it and try and do as much as you possibly can, but take it in bite-sized portions instead of marathons. So with that, I will leave that there. Good luck to all you guys, and I will see you all next week.